Today on the news and why it matters, we watched the debates last night, so you didn't have to, or at least some of us did. I can't speak for these two over here. Who knows? We got a lot to get into. We'll give you the best of here in a minute. Starts right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sara Gonzalez, today joined by Stubergear. Avid debate watcher, Stubergear.
Passionate about it.
Every minute you watched.
Every minute.
Okay.
Every minute.
I can't wait to get into the detailed analysis.
Oh my gosh.
From you.
No, I mean I did. I looked at it. I swear.
And Pat.
I looked at it.
Okay.
Pat Gray. Pat Gray from Pat Gray Unleashed.
I also looked at it.
You looked at it.
I did.
Like on the TV guide?
Yes.
Or?
No, on the actual television set itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And we've got the Daily Wire's own Josh Hammer. Tell me you watched it.
I squinted at it.
You guys, you're killing me. You're killing me.
I'm sorry.
All right, we got a lot to get into, but first we want to thank our sponsor, iTarget Pro. So I really feel like all I have to say is that iTarget Pro uses laser bullets, and that kind of is cool enough for you to probably buy it. But if you want more information, iTarget Pro, it's a little laser bullet, seriously, that you put in your gun, and you can use it to practice at home. You set up a target. Those of you who are watching on the television can see. You set up you download an app on your phone, set up a target. Your phone can track where you're shooting so that you can practice, and you can also practice dry firing, which, as Glenn always talks about, is the best way to learn your weapon. Is you got to learn the pull, you got to learn the trigger pull, you got to dry fire. This is a way to do that.
I was disturbed last night when Beto said, "Hell yes, I'm coming for your iTarget Pro."
Yes.
That was a weird moment.
It was very disturbing. So you got to get him before Beto comes to confiscate it, okay? Get it, bury it somewhere in the backyard. He won't know that it's there. You can go to itargetpro.com. If you use promo code NEWS, you will get 10% off plus free shipping. It's going to pay for itself because you're not spending money on ammunition and on range fees. That's itargetpro.com, promo code NEWS. So, the debates. Did you watch enough to at least talk about it?
I, first of all, of course, did unfortunately have to see all of it. In fact, I was watching TV the entire time the debate was on.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
So
really?
that is, I may have learned more about the Carolina Panthers and Tampa Bay Buccaneers in that time, but I did have to catch up on all this, as it is my job. And it was, it was an interesting one to watch. I mean, I don't think a ton happened.
No. Did you think that there was a clear winner?
I don't think so. I
mean,
I think you saw flashes from candidates that we hadn't seen any flashes. Amy Klobuchar comes to mind in that she actually had a couple of good moments, which are her first good moments in the entire campaign. She had that. I mean, a lot of people love the Beto stuff, because Beto came out and said he was going to take all of our guns, which is interesting because I guess he's a conspiracy theorist, because we were always called conspiracy theorists when we said that they were coming for our guns. And now they're just out on stage saying he's selling a T-shirt now that says, "I am coming for your AR-15."
No.
Whatever his quote was, "Hell yes, I'm coming for your AR-15 T-shirts."
Wow.
First of all, that's not one you want to wear around Texas, right? Like, people might not like that all that much. It is, and then he had an interaction with a Republican representative who tweeted back at him something he at least took as a death threat. So it's been quite a day.
Sissy.
But the thing about Beto is the desperation is so high with him. Like, he'll try anything now. He is at the point of, like, Hail Mary, like, throwing the wild punches at the end of the round. Like, every sports cliche, when you're losing and you try something desperate, is what he's doing.
Let's, before we get into the other candidates, since we're on the subject of Beto, let's go ahead and talk about him. You referenced the "hell yes, we're coming for your guns." I feel like he thought that was a really great moment for him.
Oh, he did.
Let's watch Beto the champ.
The high-impact, high-velocity round, when it hits your body, shreds everything inside of your body, because it was designed to do that, so that you would bleed to death on a battlefield and not be able to get up and kill one of our soldiers. When we see that being used against children, and in Odessa, I met the mother of a 15-year-old girl who was shot by an AR-15, and that mother watched her bleed to death over the course of an hour because so many other people were shot by that AR-15 in Odessa and Midland. There weren't enough ambulances to get to them in time. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
All right, let's take the emotion out of that message, right? he's basically faulting the guns for doing their job, right? I mean, he's saying the gun is too efficient, so we need to take it away. You take the emotion out of it, it's like, I mean, yeah, like that's terrible that that shooting happened, but that's not a really compelling reason. And then, Josh, did you think it was weird that he threw in the city couldn't get the ambulances in time?
It's very weird, but you know what? Robert Francis O'Rourke is the very tyrant the Second Amendment's framers had in mind when they drafted that provision. When they codified our right to keep and bear arms into the U.S. Constitution, it was that clip. It was this person and this sentiment that they feared. I wrote a column for our side of the Daily Wire a week or two ago, literally saying, I will never, ever give up my assault weapon. How could I? I mean, I look at the history of the 20th century. I look at the Jews of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. I'll go there. I mean, why wouldn't I go there? Every tin pot dictator worth his or her might has seized firearms from the citizenry.
Yeah.
It is here, there, and everywhere the gateway drug, the stepping stone to tyranny. But you're totally right. Let's talk about the inanimate object. The New York Times on 9/11 had this tweet that they took down saying that airplanes brought down the Twin Towers 9/11.
Airplanes took aim.
Airplanes took aim,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Not radical Islamic jihadists who hijacked airplanes, but airplanes. That's what Robert Francis O'Rourke is doing here, okay? Talking about guns, not talking about psychopathic, loner, alt-right, whatever, white supremacist losers who then use guns as their weapon of choice to wreak the havoc that they would have wrought regardless of weapons they had available. So he's morally confused here. He's throwing in all sorts of weird information. But fundamentally, at the end of the day, my biggest takeaway from that clip is that this man is a petty would-be tyrant.
Yeah.
And I will not give my gun to him.
Yeah. Pat, I want to bring up one more weird thing he said when it comes to guns. He was talking about he attended a gun show, and he said he spoke with gun owners who have a much different take than we do. Watch.
The day after I proposed doing that, I went to a gun show in Conway, Arkansas, to meet with those who were selling AR-15s and AK-47s and those who were buying those weapons. And you might be surprised, there was some common ground there. Folks who said, I would willingly give that up, cut it to pieces. I don't need this weapon to hunt, to defend myself. It is a weapon of war. So let's do the right thing, but let's bring everyone in America into the conversation. Republicans, Democrats, gun owners, and non-gun owners alike.
So you talked to people who were actually buying AR-15s
At
and
a gun
told them
show.
that they didn't need AR-15s?
And
You know that's a
they were
crock of
totally
crap.
on board with it, right, Pat?
Oh, I'm sure they were, yes.
happened?
Yeah, I'd gladly, you hear that from gun owners all the time. I'll gladly give up my, yes, if you want to come confiscate it, just show up at my door. In fact, I'll bring it to you. That's absolutely absurd, and we all know it. I do disagree with Stu on one thing, though. I think there was a clear winner last night, and I think it was Wayne Messam, because he wasn't there. That was a debacle. Yeah. And for him to be just flatly stating, yes, hell yes, I'm coming to take your guns, your AR-15 from you, that's dangerous rhetoric.
I mean, yeah,
that's dangerous.
there are.
But the audience cheered. I
Well,
mean,
of
they
course.
were
Yeah, those leggings
excited.
will.
That's the scariest part to me.
Yes.
That's literally the scariest part to
I
me.
mean, and none of the candidates disagreed with it, did they? I mean, I think
No.
Biden kind of gave a, well, you have to watch the Constitution a little bit type of disclaimer, but really, I don't think anyone disagreed. And all of them want this, right? It's the same way that they used to call us conspiracy theorists when we said they wanted single-payer health care, and now they all are on stage saying they want single-payer health care. Look, these modern sporting rifles as an entire category kill about 300 people a year. It's 300 more than I would like it to be. However, it is a very tiny percentage of what we're talking about here. This is all just posturing, and they know it. I'm pretty sure they know it,
Plus, he went down the hunting road, as always. You don't need it for hunting. That's not why I have it.
Right.
I don't have it for hunting. I have it for the intended purpose, that the founders made sure that we would have weapons available to us. I have it for that reason, that if the government ever goes oppressive, if the government ever becomes tyrannical, I can protect myself against the United States government or the Chinese government if they're sending troops into this country. If you've got 350 million people who are armed to the teeth, that's a pretty big deterrent for foreign entities to ever try to occupy our country. It's not for hunting. It can be used for that, but that's not the original purpose.
Well, and I mean, who is he to tell you
Right.
what you should or shouldn't be using for hunting?
Yeah.
Right.
He's never picked up a gun in his life.
of course not, right?
Pat's point, though, is pretty well documented that one of the many reasons that Hitler never invaded Switzerland was that the Swiss had, by far, the highest rate of private gun ownership in all of Europe.
Because I think you had to own a gun, right?
At that time, yeah.
At that
At that time, yes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's still the law, but yeah.
Yeah. I think it was Katie Pavlich who made a great point that I had never thought about when it comes to gun confiscation, which is the left constantly says it's completely impossible to go around and deport 10, 12, 15 million illegal immigrants, but you're going to go around and get 20 million AR-15s from people who don't want to give them to you.
Great point.
And we also hear, by the way, all the illegal immigrants are just, family-loving people that are just following the law, and they don't mind at all. You can never deport them, but you're going to go door to door with these people you tell us are mass murderers all the time and collect their 20 million weapons. That doesn't seem to be consistent.
All right, let's move to Medicare for all. Of course, healthcare, health insurance was a big, big part of this particular debate. Let's listen to the top three: Bernie, Joe Biden, and Elizabeth Warren. They kind of go back and forth a little bit on their ideas for Medicare for all. Watch.
The tax of 2% that the senator's talking about, that raises about $3 billion. Guess what? That leaves you about $28 billion short. Of the 160 million people who like their health care now, they can keep it. If they don't like it, they can leave.
Let's be clear. I've actually never met anybody who likes their health insurance company. I've met people
Stunning.
who
You're
like
really
their
connected with
doctors.
people.
I've met people who like their nurses. I've met people who like their pharmacists. I've met people who like their physical therapists. What they want is access to health care.
Let us be clear, Joe. In the United States of America, we are spending twice as much per capita on health care as the Canadians or any other major country on earth.
This is America.
Yeah, but Americans don't want to pay twice as much as other countries.
My friend from Vermont thinks that the employer is going to give you back if you negotiate his union all these years, got a cut in wages because you got insurance. They're going to give back that money to the employee?
Matter of fact, they will.
Well, let me tell you something. For a socialist, you got a lot more confidence in corporate America than I do.
Good moment from Joe,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That was a great line,
I was
actually.
impressed with his performance. I was a little bit worried
Especially
about him.
early on. I think he did well early
was
on.
Very sharp.
He has a limit. His endurance has a limit. It's about 30 minutes. He can get through a
Probably not
30-minute
what you
debate
want.
really well.
Probably not what you want for
No.
a president.
Multiple hours afterwards, he winds up kind of slurring his speech and going long in the answers. But yeah, I mean, all their plans are massively expensive. We act as if Joe Biden is some sort of conservative on healthcare. The guy is fully he wants Obamacare, all the things that have been changed on Obamacare back in, and he wants to add a massive new entitlement that people are essentially automatically enrolled in. And he's like, this guy's a libertarian over here. I mean, the interesting thing about Biden and as opposed to Warren and Sanders is at least he's saying, look, you can have a choice. You don't have to go into these things. They are so far to the left and so far into that really socialist world that they're gonna get rid of private insurance. They're force you into their programs. You know, polling is done all the time on the American people, and it's overwhelmingly unpopular to force them in and get rid of private insurance. But even among Democrats, it's not a winning proposition. The reason why Joe Biden continues to lead this race is, number one, people think he can beat Trump. But number two, like he's taking positions. These are mainstream positions in the Democratic Party. He's not out of step with them. Mm-hmm. It just seems on stage and on journalist Twitter like he is because they are so far to the left.
Yeah. Pat, what did you think of Elizabeth Warren making the comment that I've never met one single person?
She's never met me. I've had several healthcare plans that I liked a lot from healthcare companies. Mm-hmm. I like our current plan quite a bit. It covers us really well. What I don't like is the government running healthcare because we've seen through the VA just how awful that's going to be if they force that down the throats of all Americans. The government is not set up to run healthcare. Mm-hmm. The government can barely do what the government does now, let alone take on this massive program, and 17% of our economy. It's ludicrous. Yeah. It's insane.
Josh, a couple things came to mind when I heard her say that. Number one of which was that's probably because we have a bunch of entitled, spoiled Americans who are used to just getting all of this stuff. You know, right. You had that Democratic representative's wife go on Instagram Live the other day and complain that marriage counseling wasn't covered under her health insurance plan. Yeah, no kidding. Americans don't like health insurance, because their every single need and want is not covered. I'm pretty upset that my health insurance doesn't cover when I go get my nails redone. You know, so that kind of comes to mind. Want to get your thoughts on that, as well as, you know, she made the comment, oh, everyone likes their doctors, everyone likes their pharmacists, as if that type of quality care is going to stay the same once you have Medicare for all. Your thoughts?
Right. So, you know what? I don't think there's a single conservative in America who necessarily likes the status quo where we are in terms of health insurance and healthcare in this country. Conservatives for years have been preaching all sorts of like marginal kind of incremental reforms. We want health savings accounts. We want portability. We want to sever the link between private health insurance and your employer, which is kind of the original sin of health insurance in the first place, going back, I believe, to the FDR administration. But, you know, I actually want to go in a slightly different direction. This week was this was a pretty harrowing week for socialized medicine. Ross Douthat tweeted out something yesterday. It was absolutely mind-boggling. It was out of the Netherlands, and it shows what's going on in socialized medicine countries. You know, a name that we always forget is Sarah Palin. Sarah Palin famously condemned Obamacare's death panels, probably because they were actually death panels.
Yes.
They had a 15-member Politburo style centralized, de facto communist committee kind of group of elites who would deem what services would be cut from Medicare and whatnot.
Which, just as a reminder to everyone, here in Texas, we do actually have those death panels in Texas hospitals.
Yeah,
Continue.
yeah. So, no, that's absolutely right. But what Ross was tweeting, it was out of the Netherlands, is unbelievable story. They have euthanasia. They've legalized euthanasia, legalized physician-assisted suicide in the Netherlands. What happened was prosecutors alleged that this doctor killed this woman against her consent. And the doctor was let off. But the facts of the case, if you look at what actually happened, suggest that the doctor drugged her coffee to induce her into a sleepy state, and then physically restrained the parents who were attempting to talk to the doctor to talk her out of killing herself. That is literally socialized medicine.
Didn't he? I think I read the same one where some people helped hold her down and restrain her.
Yes.
I think it was her daughter.
Yes.
And her husband held her down and restrained her while the doctor.
While she was being killed by the doctor.
While the doctor ended
And
her
we see this out of the UK all the time. The Charlie Gard story. We see this all the time.
Oh yeah.
This is what socialized medicine does. I mean, there's a reason why Friedrich Hayek talked about socialized medicine as if the government controls you, Hayek said, if they control your health, they control everything.
Yeah.
It's a stepping stone to tyranny everywhere.
Well, this isn't quite as dramatic, but I had surgery on my upper back a couple of months ago.
And they tried to euthanize you?
And they tried to euthanize, they did try to kill me. But my doctor told me that because before I had the surgery, I had injections done to try to numb the pain for a while. And he told me that in Canada, where they have socialized medicine, not even available to people. If you want the injection, you've got to come here. If you want the surgery, you have to wait 9 months to 18 months. I mean, while you're in excruciating pain, welcome to Canada and socialized medicine. If that's what you want, I think you're going to be sorely surprised.
Maybe that's why they're paying less over there in Canada, Bernie.
Yep.
Back in a minute. Which I felt like Joe Biden got mixed reactions. Before we get back into the conversation, I want to thank our sponsor, Cruise Through History. Pat, I hear you are officially going on
That's
the
what I
cruise.
hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you just find out just now from me?
rumor. Yeah, I've probably known for a while, but I guess it's for sure now. So
I can't make it then.
you can't make it?
No.
Well,
I cannot make it now.
I could take
I guess
your
we
spot
actually
because I've still
we
not
can't
gotten
make
my
it at the
invitation.
same time.
Yeah, I think they went kind of. I think the issue is we were going to have no hosts.
Yeah, I know.
I
know.
need somebody to do the shows.
Yeah.
Which is understandable, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Not gonna
A lot
be
of
me.
fun.
It's not going to be me.
What is it?
Where are
Greece?
you? Where are you going?
Greece, Italy,
Jerusalem?
right? Well, it's Israel.
Israel.
It's not Jerusalem.
Yeah, all right, okay.
Croatia and Italy. Did I say Italy? It's going to be great. I'm going to have like 4 or 5 stops. You go through, and you're going to have David Barton there, and Glenn, and Bill O'Reilly, and Rabbi Lapin, among many others. And you're going to be able to get great times as far as history, learning about the foundations of all the things that are kind of important for our civilization. And then in addition, you can have a few drinks with me, and then Pat will tell you something smart and serious. And so you get good, serious things from Pat and others, and then you can come to the bar with me.
They are they're almost sold out of tickets. So you got to go to comesailaway.com to pick your package. They've got all the information there. That is comesailaway.com for all of the details. talking about all of this Medicare for all, healthcare, health insurance. Stu, you mentioned earlier, Amy Klobuchar had a couple of good moments.
Yeah.
I think her comments that she made on all of this Medicare for all, Bernie's plan specifically, was one of them. Let's watch.
But when it comes to our health care and when it comes to our premiums, I go with the doctor's creed, which is do no harm. And while Bernie wrote the bill, I read the bill. And on page 8 of the bill, it says that we will no longer have private insurance as we know it. And that means that 149 million Americans will no longer be able to have their current insurance. That's in 4 years. I don't think that's a bold idea. I think it's a bad idea. And
Nice.
what I favor is something that what Barack Obama wanted to do from the very beginning.
Not nice. She was on a roll for a minute there.
She had you and then she lost you.
Yeah.
But, I mean, calling out Bernie's crazy Medicare for all plan, does that hurt her?
You know, I think there's an argument to be made that there's a lot of people who are activists in this party that it will hurt her with, but what is her path to actually getting this nomination? Yeah. Amy Klobuchar has one path. Biden stumbles and they need a moderate. That's it. Her other path to get into the White House is Biden wins and she's the vice president, right? So there's not a lot of negatives, I don't think, for Klobuchar at this point to go out and just be overtly honest about what you think. Say the fact that Bernie's plans are nuts. Why not? There has to be somebody in this because, I mean, the party is not Bernie. You know, I mean, there are a lot of people, as evidenced by Biden somehow still holding this lead, that don't want Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren. They want something sane-ish. Look, I was amazed by the idea that all of a sudden Barack Obama's popular again in this party. He was just berated the entire time last time they had a debate. Now they were all kissing his ass again.
Except when it came to deportations.
Yeah, that's
hit
true.
him
There
on
was
that.
a little bit of that.
Yeah. Josh, what was your take on Amy Klobuchar?
So Klobuchar is interesting. If you go back to the whole Brett Kavanaugh fiasco, which I know none of us really want to think back to, it was kind of one collective giant nightmare, right? But she was really one of only 2 Democrats on the Senate Judiciary Committee. I thought along with Senator Coons of Delaware, who was like remotely sane. They both voted against Kavanaugh, but whatever. Like at least they were civil and more or less respectful. Klobuchar, I think, is actually like a decently intelligent person. We actually went to the same law school. I've kind of heard anecdotally from professors there. She was a good student. She had I think she had a pretty decent legal career before running for office. She's like a pretty intelligent person. And she's not fully crazy, unlike some of these people. So we finally saw it in that exchange there. So good for her. She's, we've all heard the stories about like the comb with the salad. She's apparently kind of like a monster to her staff in private. I wouldn't know. I've never met the woman, but
it seems such a bizarre story
it really
to me
is.
because she doesn't give off that vibe at all.
No, she doesn't. Yeah, she kind of gives off this like Midwestern Minnesota nice vibe. So it really is weird. But she's not fully crazy, so good for her for not being like a totally insane socialist, I guess. I mean, I guess in today's Democratic Party, that makes you a moderate, right? Yeah.
But that might be why she has 1% support.
Well, but also the media is not going to cover her as much,
No, they're
right?
not.
Because they don't like that she doesn't subscribe to those far-left ideologies.
Right.
So she's going to have to get over that hurdle as well.
There's a real path, though, for her or someone like her if Biden stumbles. At some point, Biden, I mean, like these things have not affected him because people still believe he can beat Trump. And as long as they believe he can beat Trump, he'll stick around. But at some point, if he has enough flubs and bertations and gaffes, and they will eventually say, okay, this isn't going to work, and they're going to have to find someone else who's at least kind of moderate. I mean, we had Mike Lee in here, and we gave him a rundown of all the candidates in the Senate. And we said, which one at least has an idea what the Constitution is? Is there any of them? And he said, Amy Klobuchar? And so, that's not an endorsement.
Right.
But at least it's someone who, she does at least seem to be sane. And honestly, for electoral purposes, her electoral record is better than anyone else in the field. I mean, she won Minnesota in a very tight race in Minnesota in 2016. And she won it by a long shot. She's never had a loss in an election, and most of them have been blowouts in purple states. So.
All right, back in a minute. I am going to be really interested to see if she gets... Hey, if you're watching this on television, don't forget you can find it on the BlazeTV. Also, we do this really fun after show called Overtime, and that's when things get really crazy. I mean, we got our drinks because it's Friday. You never know what's going to happen in Overtime, and we've still got more of the debate to talk about, specifically Joe Biden. Interesting moments with him and also others attacking him. Much more to come. You got to go to BlazeTV.